After a wave of Conservative MPs have said they will not be standing at the next general election, Matt Hancock jumped on board and said he's not going to be standing either. Former Chancellor Sajid Javid also said that he's going to be standing down, and so will rising star Dehenna Davison, who was only elected in 2019. One man who is not standing down is the Bury North MP, James Daly, and he's here to tell us what's going on. Thanks for joining us, James. I want to start by asking you, I saw the article about the number of candidates who are, well, MPs who are standing down, but this is quite far in advance. Why are they all deciding now that they're not going to run in, well, it'll be 2025, won't it?
Well, first of all, Andrew, can I just apologise if it looks like I'm in the dark at the moment? I've gone around 5 rooms so far in this house to try to get the lighting right with you guys. So if it is dark, forgive me.
You look lovely. Don't worry about it. You look great.
Yeah. There's two things about any profession, isn't there? That there are always people, you kid yourself all the time, that, you know, you're the only one who can do the job. You're the only one who's going to be able to represent the constituents correctly. You're the only one who's got the intellectual vim and vigour and all the rest of it to do the job of a Member of Parliament. But being a Member of Parliament is just like any other job. People are waiting in the wings. Really good, talented people are going to bring fresh perspectives to, to being an MP and certainly to being a candidate. The Conservative Party have got to concentrate on getting more varied background, people from more varied backgrounds, and more people standing down, from my perspective, gives the best chance for us to get new types of people into politics. People have got a lot to give, who come on board with the Conservative Party since 2019. So, in all honesty, whether Matt Hancock stands or not, the great man that he is, matters not one jot. You know, the Conservative Party is fine, and we will continue going forward with new candidates. I could give you a list of 50 candidates, you know, who I know personally, who could come into Parliament, have got the background, the humanity and the skills to be great MPs. So there's a conveyor belt, Andrew.
They're not standing down for altruistic reasons, are they? You know, they're not doing it to pave the way for other possible candidates. So there must be some reason why so many, there seems to be this exodus. I mean, is the job just a lot harder than people anticipated?
It's not like, it's the best job you can have. There's nothing hard about it. I mean, I suppose the only thing I would say that is hard for somebody like me, I'm sat here in a house now, my 2 children upstairs, my wife is next door. I don't see them 4 days a week. You know, my wife works and looks after the kids while I'm down in London doing what I do. And the pressure that I put on my family by doing the job is something that, you know, I think for many families of MPs is a challenge. But in terms of being an MP, Andrew, can you imagine a better job? Getting out there and doing things in your community, doing things to improve people's lives. Anybody who complains about it being, oh, it's this job, it's that job or that job, they shouldn't be MPs in the first place. So I think the other thing is what you're trying to get, Andrew, without actually asking me, is, are these people standing down because they think the Conservatives are going to lose the next election? You know, and if they are, good luck to them. You don't want to be, whichever battle you go into, you know, you want to be there in the trenches with people who are going to fight with you and to believe in what you're going to believe in. So if they're standing down for that reason, because they think they're going to lose, they shouldn't be standing anyway.
That's fair enough. I wasn't actually thinking of that question, but I'm glad you asked it because it is a good question. But what do you make of some critics who say that, you know, one of the problems with Parliament at the moment is that, although obviously becoming an MP should be, as you describe, a vocational thing. I mean, there can't be much that's more rewarding than helping people in that way. But actually, it's become quite careerist, and people tend to follow a certain path. You know, PPE at Oxford, then they go into the House of Commons. You don't have the numbers of, say, working class people who used to be in the Parliament. You know, back in the day, the Labour Party had so many MPs who've been down the pits and that kind of thing. But that just doesn't seem to be the case. You've got a very different culture now. What do you make of that?
I completely agree with you, and I think it's across both parties. I think both parties, especially the Labour Party, are full of what we'll call pseudo-intellectuals who like to think about politics and sort of get their moral boost by calling themselves a socialist and looking in a mirror. You know, it's not politics based upon real life, about experience of ordinary working people, as all those great Labour MPs over the last 100 years did, because they came from the villages, the pits, the areas they were from. And we need more working class candidates. We've got far too many people who come straight out of being a special advisor and straight into MP for this or MP for that. The whole thing about being an MP, what I can tell you from 2019, is you've got to be in the reality-based universe, which is a statement of the obvious. And the reality-based universe is not something that you learn from a book. You learn from life. You learn from experiences. You learn from dealing with people. You learn from struggling to pay your bills. You learn from, everything to do with your kids, or if you haven't got kids, whatever it is, the people you interact with in your life mean, they prepare you to be an MP. And if you don't have that, and you just look at it as some sort of career progression, or you view politics and life through the prism of an academic text, like some colleagues in Parliament appear to do, you're not going to be a very good MP, in my view.
What do you think about a lot of people who have basically written off the Conservatives for the next election? I mean, it does look, in terms of the polling, that they don't really have a hope at this juncture. What's the best thing that the Conservative Party can do to turn that around?
Well, I don't believe a word of the polling. All polls, the only poll that matters is the poll at the general election. I've been doing this for a long time, Andrew, as both a councillor, and now a member of Parliament. There is enough time for the Conservative Party to turn its fortunes around, but it's got to be a Conservative Party. It's got to now stand on that platform and scream from the rooftops about the platform that was elected in 2019. Take very strong measures in respect of the small boats crisis. Not prioritise the sort of net zero, what in my view is nonsense. You know what I mean? Not tax people to the level that we're doing. Get back to what people want from a Conservative Party. People don't want Labour light. And I think that one of the great myths of modern politics is that this idea that, I'm not here to criticise any of my colleagues at all, but this idea that some of our former prime ministers are sort of more conservative than the present one is absolute nonsense. If you look from 2019, for somebody like me onwards, the preoccupation with net zero, the fact that Priti Patel wasn't backed up at home as Home Secretary from number 10, these are really significant issues and are contributing to where we are now. So I think that this Prime Minister and the team around him are the best team that we've had, but they've got to be able to articulate the good things they're doing and do it.